Welcome everyone. How's it going? I'm Peter. I'm here to help you guys out with learning the desktop platform today. Just a few notes before we start anything. The platform you're viewing on my screen right now is the desktop version. If yours looks any different than mine, you are likely on the web-based version, either 1.0 or 2.0. If you'd like to, you should be able to go ahead and quickly get that downloaded. It doesn't take very long. One of my panelists here, Anthony or Christian, will throw that in the chat so you guys have a place to download it from if needed. All right, so I think we're just about ready to get started up here. We are going to go ahead and start this with a disclaimer. Everything that you're going to see here trading wise, when I'm placing any trades on the platform today, they are not meant to be taken as advice. They are just examples showing you how to use and maneuver around the platform while using it. Okay, we'll go ahead and remove that and we'll get started here. All righty. So again, for everyone just signing in, just getting in here, I am Peter. I've been on the trade desk for 5 years, 5.5 years just about. Christian and Anthony are both here to answer any questions that you have while I'm going through everything. So what we'll start here is when we launch into the platform, the first thing that you're going to be presented with, it's a relatively new feature, but it's pretty awesome, is this dashboard. Okay, so this dashboard is what's going to pop up on open during the beginning of any session you have. You do have the option to turn it off if you want to, down there in the bottom left. Not really too important, but essentially what's on this page is it gives you a snapshot of the market. So right here, you see that we have today's market. How did SPY do today? Is it up? Is it down? Anything along those lines. On top of that, we also have to the right here, an area that you can view your net liquidity over a span of time. Now, depending on the time you want, you can do a day, week, month, 3 month, or year. We most likely will add some more customization to that at some point in the future, but for now, that is what it's on. Also on top of that, you can switch between the accounts that you have. So I have 2 accounts here that I'm signed into at the moment. If I want to look at my O1 account, I can switch to it and vice versa, right back. Okay, and again, the months, years, you can change all of it. A few other things on the dashboard here. Let me get my tool for drawing. Okay, we have a few spots here, such as news. This is something relatively new. Again, the news feature, it shows you any stock, company, whether it's business or political news, anything that's relevant to market would be represented here. You can see that in the page. If you go down a little bit further, again, some more stories are going to be down here and whatnot. We also have on this dashboard, we have, let me get my tool again. We have these watch lists that you can have. So we have the earnings, upcoming earnings for this coming next 7 days or so. We have dividend champions. These are ones that have been paying good dividends over the year, usually get more and more dividends paid towards them. And then fast movers. Now that could be high IV. It could be a big move in 1 day. It could be a different number of scenarios. So that's kind of the dashboard here. Again, more of a snapshot. This doesn't have anything to do with where you'll be making your trades. This is more of just a snapshot when you get in to see how your positions are performing that day by looking at the P&L chart, how the market's performing that day. Okay, so now that we've gotten the dashboard taken care of, we will go into the platform itself where you'll be making trades, etc. The platform is broken down into 3 separate panels. We have the left side panel. This will always be up. There's nothing you can do to get rid of it. However, you can adjust it if you'd like to make it smaller, make it bigger. You can show more data, show less data, etc. When you're on this page, again, you'll see the recent symbols. That's exactly what it sounds like as I choose different underlines. For example, if I type in F will pop in up here at the top, okay? So it'll pop in right there, also on the recent symbols area. That'll happen for everyone I set in, anything. All right, The second part of the platform is this big center part. Let me actually show you guys the right side tab here. My apologies about that. So we have the right side tab as well, but we'll show you the middle part now. This is the big meat and potatoes part. This is where you're going to be doing your trading from, setting up options, stocks, viewing charts, viewing a lot of different information from this area. And then we have the right side tab. This is collapsible. As you saw earlier, I did not have it viewing, but now I do. So this is the right side tab again. General information. There will always be an overview chart here up in the top right, which you can set to 1 day, 1 month, and 1 year by selecting between those three. Okay. This will also change based on what underlying you have typed in. So for example, let's just type in Tesla. Tesla will also now pop in over to the right side there. And again, as I mentioned earlier, anytime I type in a new symbol, it'll show up here and it'll show up over on the right side too. Okay, automatically. There's nothing extra you have to do or special settings you have to set up. Okay, now that we've gone over just a few kind of general layout situations there, what we'll do is kind of go into some more wayfinding. How do I maneuver around? What do all these buttons mean? What do they do? Which are all great questions. So on the left side here, again, we're on the left side tab. Sorry, let me get my drawing tool one more time for you. On the left side tab here, you'll see a watch list. Okay, this watch list can be anything you'd like it to be, whether that's one of our preset watches, which we have many of. We have many watch lists such as the high 52 weeks, Tasty IVR, crypto. We have dividend watch list, earnings watch list, go on and so forth. We have the sectors as well. Another cool thing is we have a positions watch list. Now, what this means is if I show you my positions page here, this is my positions page. I'll point that out where I clicked. So I clicked right here. That's where I click positions at. If I switch now to positions on the watch list here, you'll see that now I'm looking at all my positions in the watch list. So if I'm on any other tab here and I want to see how my positions are doing, I can just pay attention to this area and get that information. This area right here, this will have my details. Okay. In terms of, maybe finding some inspiration potentially for a trade, looking at different, mocking up different trades in general, whether you want to see the chart, whether you want to see the news on that particular position. So let's do Ford here. We'll go with Ford Motor Company. So again, you see it popped up over here on the left side again, popped up at the top. Okay. So if we wanted to maybe look at a chart of this, so this whole section here on the left, all these tabs that you see, these are the navigation tools you'll need to maneuver around the platform efficiently. Okay, so you see we have positions, we have trade, we have our activity tab, and we have a list of different buttons. Some of these are charts. This is a follow tab right here, for example. These are two of our charts. I'll go into more detail about these tools later. But there's a lot of tabs right there on that page. So if we wanted to look at a chart of Ford, what we'll do is we'll take our mouse and we'll click this chart button right here. Okay, if you hover the mouse over any of these, it'll pop up what they're called on the actual page itself. Okay, so we're looking at a chart of Ford. Okay, now whether this chart means I want to go long or short, that's of course always going to be up to the trader themselves, whether you think the trend is going to be on that. But with this, let's say I wanted to look at Ford and see how it was doing maybe over a different time period. So what we'll do is I'll show you guys how to kind of adjust these. So up here, you'll see a list of different tools for the chart tab. Okay, this chart tab, again, you can use it to change your time intervals. So I can look at it over a year, and then I can aggregate these. Let's just do it 2-hour candles. So as I'm going through, I can see you see in the top left here, My apologies. Let me get that drawn a little better. So up here in the top right, you can see my numbers will change based on where I move my cursor, right? So if I wanted to see what this candle was right there, this long green one, I can see that the open on that candle at 9 a.m. was $12.18. The high during that 2-hour period was $12.51. The low, $12.14, and it closed the hour or the 2-hour session at $12.42. Okay. Clear that drawing out. All righty. So a few other things, features that I think are very key to knowing and understanding is one being the history page. Now, whether it's for a trade you made in the past, a corporate action that took place, a dividend that was paid out, a transfer that happened, this is the page you'll want to go to. Okay, so there's a few key things on this that you can filter for. So up here again, kind of the same general layout. Always at the top are going to be the options that you can use to adjust these. So what we'll do is I'll come back to this page in a little bit. We'll place a trade here in a second in the extended hour session for a share of stock. And then I can kind of show you a few different order types from there. Okay, so just because we have Ford pulled up, we're going to use Ford. Now, let's say I want to place a stock trade on Ford. I've decided I wanted to place a stock. Now, whether I want to buy it or sell it, again, that's always up to the individual themselves. For this example, we're going to be purchasing a share of stock. The cool thing about our platform is anywhere you see the bid and the ask listed. So the bid right here, for example, and the ask right there, also over here. And there, if I pull up the left side tab here, you can also see them over to the right here, right there. And any of those, so I'm sorry about that, Daryl, I will slow down, my apologies. So in any of these areas where you see the bid and the ask, you are able to click one of them. The bid will sell shares and the ask will purchase. Okay, so it's as simple as clicking the ask up here in the header. Okay, and my apologies. I actually forgot to mention one thing. I'll go over it after we place one stock order. So I've clicked the ask now, and I have set up at the bottom here this trade ticket. Okay, this trade ticket is where you'll see all your pertinent information about the trade you're setting up, whether that be options, stock, futures, crypto, etc. Anything, it's all going to be located here in the trade ticket. So what we'll do is for this particular underlying for Ford here is we have an order set up for one share. As you can see right here, one share is set up. So if I wanted to change the quantity of these, I could do a few different things. One, we have a tool, a quantity tool, where you can change quantity with those arrows. So the up arrow to the right, the right arrow will increase the quantity. The left arrow will decrease the quantity. You can also use the quantity arrows located here on this section. And let's say, for example, you maybe wanted to do an odd lot. You wanted to change, you wanted to buy 55 shares, for example, of Ford. What we could do is you'll take your cursor, so you can see my cursor right over the quantity, you'll click it, and you can erase the number, and we'll type in 55. And then once I type it in, make sure you click enter, and now you can see that I have 55 shares queued up. Another cool thing, anytime you change the parameter, whether that be the quantity, you're changing an option strike or whatever it might be, all the information here will also update. So you'll see here your pop, your P50, your delta, theta, max profit, max loss, and the buying power effect. The buying power effect is the requirement needed for that particular trade. Okay. So for this example, what we're going to do is we're going to go back to one share of Ford. So I notice I clicked enter and the buying power effect up here changed and all these details changed. So in the extended hours session, which we offer from 7:30 in the morning to 8:30 a.m. Central Time, and then 1 hour post market. So from 3 p.m. Central to 4 p.m. Central, you can route extended hours trades. To route an extended hours trade, all you need to do is switch the time in force section. Okay. So you switch the time in force section. You move it from the day order to EXT. EXT stands for extended hours session. Okay. So let's just go back to day for 1 second. I want to show you the different order types. So on an order types, you can change between market, limit, stop market, and stop limit. Okay. For extended hours sessions, only limit orders are allowed. So I'm going to go switch back to limit for now, and we'll go back to extended hours. So the next thing we'll do after we decide the shares, how many shares, the price we want. Oh, I didn't mention the price, my apologies. So we'll check here in the middle. You can change the price you have set. So right here is where we set our price. Okay. You'll see we always default to the mid. It looks like the price changed a little bit while we've been talking, but we usually default to the mid where it'll start there and you can work your way towards the natural. Okay. And you change the price again, just by simply the arrows up, down, we'll move that number. You can also do what we did with the quantity and type in a specific number. So if I wanted to do it at 14, I don't want to buy any shares of Ford until it goes down to $14. We can then purchase it at that price. Okay. Let me switch that back to 1. Okay. So now what we'll do is I'm going to route the order at the asking price. So the asking price again is the price at which you want to purchase the option, or the price that they're offering, the market is offering at that time. So we'll go to the review and send page here. You see the review and send button in the bottom right. We'll go ahead and click this button here and another page will pop up with again some more information. This is where you can again, I know it's kind of stating the obvious, but you can review and send this order. So you got to review it by looking at this information here, confirming that, hey, I have everything set up right. I have the right underlying, I have the right time in force, I have the right price. So again, you can check all that information just by looking at these. So you got the type of order it's going to be, the time in force, and the cost. Okay. And then the buying power effect, you can see since this is a margin account, we're not going to be using the full cash in order to purchase this one share. It's just going to be a single, a 50% margin, excuse me, on that. So after we get done deciding that's the stock, we want to place the order, we click send. So I'll click send here. And you see up in the top left here, we got a fill. Okay, so we got the fill, it popped up right there. You can change for how long those will be displayed. Okay. But now we'll go back to our positions page. Okay. On the positions page, we just placed this order on Ford. Okay. If we want to change the order type, maybe we want to sell this position at this point, we can do that. There's a few things you can look at. So when you highlight the share that you're trying to sell or option, again, I'll go over options in a little bit of time here. If you want to sell this share at a certain price, you highlight it by left clicking. You left click that particular line. You can then right click the option, or excuse me, the share, my apologies. On that, you can use the close position feature, which will do exactly what it sounds like. It'll take us right back to the review and send trade page. I'm going to clear that out for a second, show you a different feature though. So a cool feature on our system that you can use is called the bracket function. Okay, this bracket function right down here at the bottom. Okay, so when I click it, it's going to take another page and pop it open. You can use this on the opening trade as well. I'm just using the example on the closing side. Okay, so you see we have our share that we got filled at $4.13 here. Okay, the one share. These two on the right, the close at profit and the stop loss, are where I can set to get out of this position at where I decide where I want to get out. So if we wanted to set it at a percentage, you can choose the percentage. If you have a specific price in mind, let's say you wanted to get out at $15 profit's plenty for you, you can choose to put $15 into here. Okay, good question. I see that here. Gopal, DB means debit. CR means credit. So this means I bought this for $14.13. Okay, and this means I'm trying to sell it at that price, and that's going to be how much I lose. Okay, so in this case, it's going to be the loss. In this case, that's going to be my profit. Okay, so credit means I gained money. Debit would mean I would lose money on these two regards. But let's go ahead and change these figures. So let's say I wanted to get out at 10%. 10% profit is what I want to get out at. So I can use my arrow here, and you will notice that as I change, excuse me, as I change these figures, the close price also changes. Okay, so it's not something I have to again think about. It's I can, if I want 10%, I put it to 10%. This is 10% of profit if I close at that price. Same thing on the loss side. You can decide whether, again, a price in mind or a loss percentage. Let's say we want to do 5%. You can set it up to 5. Okay. And then next thing, we'll go on to the review and send page from here. So again, this is called an OCO, one cancels other. And let's just check out the review and send. So you'll see that we have the fill, and we have these two orders, the profit and the loss set. So one at 1540, that's our profit, and then the stop at 1340. Okay, so if it gets down to that price, you don't have to be watching it all the time. You can set the price, step away, and then let the computer do its job. So let's just send this out, and we'll show you what it looks like as a working order. Keep in mind that since I'm routing this as a bracket, it's not going to be routed as extended hours trade. It's going to be routed as 2 GTC orders. These GTC orders do not work in the extended hours session. They only are valid for the active session. So from the 8:30 a.m. Central to the 3 p.m. Central. Okay. So we'll go to the review and send page now, and we'll send that out. So now you see on my positions page here that you see 2 working orders, the 2 orders I just placed on this particular trade, on this particular share, excuse me. If I want to adjust these 2 orders at all, it's super straightforward. There's 2 places you can do it from, really 3. So we have, of course, the positions page itself. So all you have to do is give it one of these orders a right click. You'll see a multitude of options pop up, whether that's cancel this particular order, you want to cancel the entire complex order, you want to replace this particular leg of your OCO order, you can choose all of those. What we're going to do is I'm going to cancel the entire complex order. Okay. And I'm going to then route an order to close this just in the extended hours session one more time. Okay. So we'll go to the close position again by highlighting the shares, or share in this case, right clicking, going to close position. And I saw someone mention the stop limit. Yes, we do have stop limits. You can change them on the bracket. Let me show you that real quick. So we'll go back to bracket. You can switch it to stop limit here. Let me get my drawing tool for you so you can get that spotted out nice and easy. Stop type right here. You can switch that between market and limit. So if you have limit, of course, you'll have to set 2 prices, your stop trigger, and then your limit price. Okay, good question. So what we'll do now is we'll go back to the close position. So again, highlight the share, right click that share, click close position. You'll see the bid and ask again at the top, the 14.12 and the 14.13. So what I'm going to do to sell this back in the marketplace is I'm going to switch it from the day order again to the extended hours trade again. So we'll go from time in force day to time in force EXT. Okay. We will review and send this, and we will ship this one out. We will get rid of this share of stock. Get the fill. Great. So we got filled at 14.12. So now, let's just say you wanted to review that trade. So we'll go back to our history page here that I mentioned earlier, and you wanted to see the result. How did I do? What was my P&L? How much did I pay in commissions, fees, etc. So what you'll do is you'll go down here to the history button. Okay. If I click the history button, you'll now see two line items. Of course, there are two trades I made a few minutes ago and the one I made just a few seconds ago. And you can see here on this page that anything that's selected, so anything that's being shown on the history page is automatically tallied up for you up at the top. Okay. If we wanted to view, let's say you had multiple different trades on this page, you can filter specifically for a symbol you're wanting or for a time period you're wanting by using the symbol filter here, typing in Ford or Tesla, MES, etc. You can click that. You can also filter for a type. So by type, it means a trade, a dividend, a corporate action, cash movement, etc. I'll show you the list of all those so you can see what's available. So we got the receive, deliver, trade, assignment and exercise is a good one to see, withdrawals, so on and so forth. Okay, and interest payments even. And if we wanted to isolate a particular line and wanted to only see that line, you can click and you'll notice that it changes my data that is being represented up here. Okay, and of course, if I click the second one, it'll tally it up. So if I have multiple trades on, let's say I got legged into, yes, we'll get some options and futures before time runs out, absolutely. If you wanted to, maybe you legged into a bunch of shares of trade and then you sold them all at the same time, you can highlight each one of the legs that you legged into, get the closing order, and it'll tally it all up for you. Another cool feature on this part, on this history page, is the year to date button. Okay, the year to date button is right here. So this year to date button, it's exactly what it sounds like. It will show you your profit and loss for the year, both realized, unrealized, the year's gain, which is just a combination of realized and unrealized, your commissions, your fees, and then your P&L year to date with fees. Okay, so those will all be, readily available at a moment's notice. How am I doing in Ford since the beginning of the year? I'm up $76 on Ford. That's an easy way to check to see how the positions are performing that you have, the ones that you traded over the year. And to note, this goes from January 1st to December 31st. It's not when you open the account and 1 year later. Okay, so a few other things that I'll mention here. We'll go into an options trade and I'll go over kind of setup. I skipped the setup part at the beginning, guys. My apologies on that, but I'll show you guys a few options trades here and how to set things up for an options trade. And we'll also do futures. Again, they're relatively straightforward. I can actually show you futures first. It's pretty straightforward. So the first thing, again, we'll go up to the top here. And you can type in your underlying. So I'm going to just type in MES /MES. Same thing. If I want to buy an option, or excuse me, buy a future on this, I can click the ask or the bid. Okay. I can show you the ask or the bid here. We'll get into some drawings on these charts and everything as well. So you can click the bid or the ask. That sets up a futures trade. Ask will purchase, bid will sell. Relatively again, relatively straightforward. If you know how to set up a stock trade, you know how to set up a futures trade. Okay. Let me go back to the, let me go back to the chart here. And I did forget to mention a few things about how to draw and the indicators on this page. So we have indicators up at the top. Let me highlight it for you. So indicators and drawings and everything could be done from this section. So you can change it here. You know, let's say you wanted to look at the MACD. Okay. You can add that to your chart, right? Click X and you'll see the MACD representation down here at the bottom. If you wanted to superimpose it, you could do that. You can superimpose it by dragging up, okay, and unimpose it by dragging down. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple more things here. So if we wanted to do a couple price lines, maybe you wanted to put in some resistance and support lines. So we could show, you know, let's say we want to set up a price line at 50, if I can get it there. So we can set one up at 43.50. And we could also put our line in below, let's say we wanted to do it at 42.25. So we can get it right in at 42.25. We can put our lines in relatively easy. Okay. Another thing to get, let's say we want to get rid of these drawings. We don't want them on the board. You can right click any of the line that any lines or any drawings you've made on the chart. You can click remove. Okay. I'll show you the overlay one more time here. So what we'll do for the overlay is right down here. You'll see this blue. Again, this will be specific to what indicators you're looking at. But in this case, we're looking at the MACD. You'll cover and highlight that particular indicator, left click, and then drag up. Okay, and you can superimpose it onto your current chart. And again, to unimpose it, same thing, highlight, click, and drag down. Okay, but let's go over how to remove these drawings. So all over the platform, you'll notice these little buttons. So you'll see one here, this one's specific to the chart tab, and you'll see one in the top right if we show that little section up here. So if I show you up here, you'll also see this settings button. So these are located all over the platform. Okay, if we click this one here in the chart, okay, it'll be, again, this one's specific to the chart itself. If we click this one, you can check out the layout. So first off, you can change the layout of your chart. If you wanted to see more of a margin on the right-hand side, you could begin to change that to see a little bit more of a gap over to the right. I'll set that back down to 0. But let's say we wanted to get rid of my drawings. We wanted to not see what I had drawn on there before. You go to the chart function on these settings here. So the chart function, sorry about that. The chart function here on the settings, you'll see remove all drawings. You can also hide them if you'd like to hide them, but you can remove all drawings by clicking the remove all drawings button. It'll ask you, are you sure? You'll click yes. Okay. If you want to remove the indicator that I just put on here, the MACD, you go back into the indicator section and you'll see an X right next to the MACD there. What you'll do is just click the X on that. It'll remove that. And again, so on and so forth. You can add as many as you want. So we'll put them back in. So we'll put like 3 in there just to show you that what it looked like. So we'll put MACD, we'll put like volume, for example, and we'll do okay, and we'll add like 3 of these. So here you can see that it can get cluttered. The platform and the chart tab can get cluttered depending on how much you're wanting to look at. If it does get cluttered, we do have a workaround where you can take the chart, not this particular one, but you can take charts and move them off screen. You can move them to another monitor. You can move them to the same screen, just have it behind, so that way you can switch between the two rapidly. What you'll do for that is it's called this tasty charts function. So this is the chart tab, and the Foursquare is the tasty charts tab. Okay, so let's go to the tasty charts tab, and I'll show you how you would disconnect it. I'm not going to do it because it will mess with the program just a little bit since I'm sharing my screen. But all you would do is click this diagonal arrow up in the left of the tasty charts page, and it will remove these charts. And then again, like I said, you can move them to a different screen if you'd like to. And this tasty charts, on top of having all the functionality of the regular chart tab, you can also have multiple. So again, you can have one chart if you wanted one. My screen's not big enough at the moment. You do need a little more real estate to get as many charts up there. So right now I can only do 2x1, but you can go up to, I believe, 4x4, excuse me. So 4 on top, 4 on bottom, if you have a big enough screen. Okay. So we'll go back to a couple of the other settings, and then we'll get into some options trades. Okay. Okay. So let's actually just go to options here. What we'll do is we'll show you a couple options. So we'll look at Apple. Okay. We'll look at Apple here. In Apple, we have a position already. That's great. So what we'll do is we'll go to the trade page. So from Apple, we'll go to trade, and you'll see, maybe this looks familiar to a lot of you guys, maybe it doesn't. This is an options chain where all of the expirations will be listed. If you have that chosen, you can detect which expirations you view by using this funnel button. And what I mean by that are you can look at regular expirations or non-regular expirations. So the ones that are lighter shade of gray, excuse me, are the regulars, and the weeklies here are, of course, the non-regulars. So I'll show you what that button looks like. If you click this funnel up in the top right, you'll see all regular and non. Okay. You can also view how many strikes you want to see. So let's open one of these chains up. Let's just go to July 21st here. If you want to look at all of the strikes, okay, you'll see the strikes drop down up here. It's at 16 right now, but that can be changed from 6 all the way up to all. And you can even type in a number. So if I wanted to do 15, I could type in 15 and look at 15 strikes here on my options chain. I'm going to go back to 16 here. Okay. So let's say we wanted to make an earnings play, or maybe trade a dividend. Yes, I will show you how to change some orders here from the chart. Yes, absolutely. That's what we're about to do. So let's do, let's go to the earnings. Remember the watch list here. I'm going to use the watch list all earnings. We'll look at JBL here. Okay. So if we're looking at JBL, and let's say we want to do an earnings play on this particular underlying. So what we'll do is we'll first start, typically when an earnings play is being made, you usually do it the expiration after the earnings comes up. How you can see if earnings are coming up for a particular underlying you're looking at is this purple E line. It also has the date there, and it says before the bell. So this is before the bell on June 15th. This will release the information of these earnings reports. Okay. So typically we'll want to go into the next expiration. So we'll click this expiration. A cool thing about each of these lines is, of course, you'll see the date up here, June 16th. You'll see calls, you'll see puts, and you'll see this little bit of information here. So this is the IVX. So that's the implied volatility for this particular options chain. And the plus or minus 4.97 is your expected move for that particular chain. Okay. So if we wanted to do an earnings play, again, we'll set one up here. We'll just do a strangle on these two legs. So we'll do the 90 put. Puts are always on the right side here. And calls are always on the left side here. So everything left of the strikes are calls. Everything right of the strikes are puts. So we want to set up this strangle on JBL. What we'll do is first we'll review everything. We'll check our price. 187 seems like a good price. But what I'll do is maybe we want a little bit more. So we'll collect 195. We'll try to get 195 tomorrow when the market opens. So I'll review this trade. Okay. Review and send this trade. And I'll show you a few things from the chart on how to maybe adjust some of these orders. Okay. Go to forward here. Okay. So JBL, where'd we go? There we go. So JBL is right here. So you see my working order on JBL, this particular order we've just made. I'm also going to remove some of these indicators, guys, just so it declutters up everything. Okay. So you'll see JBL here. You can adjust the trade by canceling it, replacing it. Replacing it's a pretty good feature. It lets you just go in and quickly change the price. So if I wanted to change it there, I could move it to 190. Okay. And someone mentioned they wanted to check out a few orders from the charts. I'll show you guys that here in a second. Just be patient with me. My apologies on being a little slow with it. But if we wanted to cancel this order, I no longer want to do this JBL earnings play. I think it's, maybe going to rally through one way or the other. What we'll do is we'll just cancel it. Okay. Simple as that. And now what we'll do, we'll go back because it's easier to show how to trade from a chart with a share. I'm just going to queue up very similar order to what we had earlier. It's not going to fill because remember, this is now past the extended hour session. So I'm just going to place this so we can see it on the chart. Okay. So I've placed a working order that won't fill right now because I said the market's currently closed. You see the working order on the chart. You can see it here as one share at the price that I have set. Okay. One price that we have set here. What we can do if we want to adjust this order from this page, what we can do is we can double click and right. Oops. Oh, I got the draw tool. I'm sorry, guys. I have a draw tool on. That's why it's not working. Give me just 1 second to fix that. Chart, remove. Exit. All right. Sorry about that. All right. So now we got no tool. My apologies, guys. That's why that wasn't working. So what we do is we click the order and we can actually drag down, drag up, move it to where we want that working order to be done. To clarify, when I let go of the mouse from holding this button, it will route the order at that price. So be careful. If someone bumps your elbow and you shoot it up or you knock it down, it's going to route right away. So we'll just drop it down to, let's say 380. Okay. And you see my trade went out at 415 and is now an in at 1380. I still have a trade graph that shows trade visually. Yes, the analysis tab. Absolutely. Okay. Oops. So that's how you can, of course, adjust the order there again. Click, drag, let go. And what we'll do is we can also cancel the order here. So I'll show you how to do that by clicking that X button. I've canceled that trade. So now we'll look at a couple analysis features that are useful for when setting up trades or evaluating a position that you've had on for maybe a while. You just want to see how it's going. So what we'll do is we'll choose AMD here. Okay, AMD's got some nice positions. We'll go back to the table. Okay, so you see this analysis button at the top. We'll move this out here so that way you can see analysis here as well. So I click analysis, you see it switches me to the analysis mode that we have. Now, let's say I didn't want to look at all of these positions. I wanted to maybe only evaluate the calls. So you can see over here, there's check marks on these positions. You can remove the check marks from the ones you don't want to view. So let's just get rid of the put for right now. So we're looking at 2 calls. Okay. So you can see the 2 calls in the middle. They're both at the same strike. Okay. Oops, sorry about that. They're both at the same strike. Okay. At 1:30. You can use this analysis button here again to use up at the top. This is for the days at expiration. So this is 38 days out is what it's saying. Okay. Let me get a little better example here. Actually use GC. All right, actually, yeah. Actually set up a brand new one. So if I go to here, let's just do like a credit spread. So a credit spread on here will be 1 and 2. So let's say I wanted to evaluate this particular position. Let's do forward again. Sorry about that, guys. I don't want to confuse you. So let's do forward. My apologies. We'll set up a credit spread here on forward on the 15 by clicking the bid, on the 16 by clicking the ask. And what we can do if we want to analyze this position is go to the curve function. Okay. And where are my strikes? There they are. Sorry about that. So you'll see here in the middle, we'll zoom in just a little bit so you get a little better idea of it. So you'll see here, this is a risk graph. So this is a credit spread where it'll show you that as the underlying goes down, I will be making more money. I'll be using, more advantageous to my account. Whereas if the position moves up in price, you will begin to lose money. Okay. You can use this for any trade you're setting up, whether that's an iron condor, a credit spread, a debit spread, a single leg option, shares, etc. You can always use it for those particulars. Let's say, again, if we wanted to place this trade, you could always review it and send it out. But that's the analysis feature kind of in a nutshell. Let's go over to the right here and show you a few more of the options you can do. So let's say we didn't want to evaluate it today, but we maybe wanted to evaluate it at a different date. You can use the tool here to change. If you wanted to view it maybe at expiration, you can move it forward in time to the 31 days out. So to 7/14. And that will allow you to then, view the risk graph from there. So let's go ahead and do that. Yes, it does it theoretically measures that price. Yes, so we can change the Greeks here. Let me get my tool one more time. So you can see up here is the lines. So you see P&L Theo, that's P&L theoretical at any given date that you choose. P&L expiration, the P&L at expiration, given where you have the price set. And then the Greek here, you can switch from delta, gamma, theta, vega, and rho. So we'll go ahead and just put theta on there. We want to know how much my option is going to lose value, my option strategy, I should say, lose value over a span of time. This theta will tell you that. It'll say I'm losing money. Of course, obviously we're going to lose more money the further we go into the money, and we'll gain money the further we go out of the money. But that theta will show you, and again, you can change the date you're evaluating it for just as simply by clicking the arrows, or if you want to go to a specific date, you can use the calendar button and choose the date you'd wish to choose. All righty. Sorry for that drawing still being on there, guys. Okay, so let's think of a few other things that we could look at here. So we have the follow tab. Okay, Q&As. All right. Yeah. Is there a back testing or think back feature on the desktop app? We do not have that. We are coming out with an API, but actually I think the API might be available now. You can always email our tech team if you'd like to be on the API beta testing. Let's see, very nice graphics. Thank you, much appreciated, Martin. I was a little nervous. This was my first demo I've done, so I appreciate the support. I really do. Yeah, if you guys have any other questions, go ahead and let me know here. I'm happy to kind of go into more detail. You know, I'm happy to hear from you guys, and maybe if you need to see something again or need something explained a little bit more, can the candles be moved up and down? Let's go to a chart here. When you say up and down, do you mean in terms of like changing the scale? If you do, you can change the scale by using this slider function. Here, let me get my drawing tool. You can use this sliding function up here, okay? And it will allow you to, I gotta get off my tool. You can slide it to zoom in on a particular part of the graph, zoom out on a particular part of the graph. Another cool thing is that you can see right now, this is a pretty wide area from down to 11 up to 14. If you get that off the area, you see as I move the graph left, it will automatically size it and scale it to the best viewable spot that you can have. Can you chart a specific? Yes, you can. I will show you how to chart an option. Absolutely. So what you'll need for that is the options chain. So again, any underlying you're wanting, Tesla, Apple, whatever it is, we can go to the options chain on the trade page. And again, up here in the top, didn't point this out. This is a little drop down where you can change the trade mode. So we have a few different trade modes. The two most popular would be the curve and the table, probably. The table is my favorite. So from the table, if you want to ever view any option in a particular graph, you just, let's just say we wanted to look at the July 28th, 275 call. All I do is you'll find the bid or the ask. Okay, so the bid or the ask is what you'll click here, but you, instead of left clicking it, you right click it. So I'll right click the 1565, view option and chart. Simple as that. Simple as that. Just right click the review or the bid or ask. It'll ask you if you want to view it in a chart. So you can then go view that in the chart. Again, any underlying or ticker you'd like. Let's see. Yes, we can show you the standard deviations. I'll show you those right now. So let me view a few more strikes here. Okay, so Tesla here, we'll just go up to the top. We'll do July. So this will be the closest standard deviation. So what we'll see is blue dotted lines. These blue dotted lines. You'll see one up top. And if I scroll down a little bit, that's me. Oh, sorry. There we go. If I scroll down a little bit, you'll see another blue dotted line. We'll get both of them to show on the screen here. So that's one standard deviation. Okay, the first blue dotted lines you see on the option chain, one right there and one right here. For two standard deviations, you scroll a little bit farther up or a little bit farther down, you'll see another blue line, which will be this two standard deviation line. So one standard dev, the closer dotted line, and two standard devs, the further spaced dotted line. Yeah, I think that about wraps everything up. If you guys do have more questions, feel free to send us an email. You can send an email to support@tastytrade.com, or you can give us a call. Looks like Christian posted the number up there. I will again bring you the disclaimer down here. Please keep in mind that all trades I made today were not meant to be viewed as trading advice. Okay. I really appreciate the patience, guys, and thank you for being part of my first demo here. Look forward to having you guys as traders. If you guys have questions, you might get me on the phone. Feel free to say hi. All right. Thank you, guys. Have a fantastic rest of your day.